not know that he was in the country at that time.
At what point do you think they knew of your return?
À quel point vous connaissez que vous connaissez retourné?
C'est parce que nous avons un chauffeur qui travaille ensemble avec moi dans le palais. Il connaît, il est bien avec moi, il était venu visiter. Par la suite, il est venu arrêter. Je me senti que peut-être c'est capable de même qui fait monsieur connaît que nous pays.
He had a chauffeur when he worked at the palace that was. Did they arrêter le chauffeur?
Oui,
That they arrested, and he suspects that it was this chauffeur that might have put out that Pierre had returned to the island.
So when did they first come to your residence looking for you?
Qui là où t'es venu dans la résidence où t'es venu chercher?
moi j'ai sorti, moi fait 15 jours au Caille, moi retourné au Prince. Par la suite, là, il a arrêté le chauffeur. C'est l'heure après, moi-même encore, monsieur commence à chercher de là étant, mais comme Dieu.
He spent 15 days in Okai, and then he returned to his residence in Port-au-Prince. As he said previously, they had arrested the chauffeur. He basically suspected that they were probably going to come and look for him as well, so he left the house.
So on what date did they first visit the house?
Qui date que premier yo vinn visiter la caillou?
Monsieur a commencé à retourner la carte moi dans 15 novembre.
They started to the armed men started to visit him again the 15th of November 2004.
And what did they find at your house?
Qui ça rejoint la caillou?
Bon, j'étais jeune frère qui était resté dans Kaila, mais moi-même, je ne suis pas dans Kaila, je ne suis pas resté dans Kaila.
They found his brother who was in the house, but he was not living in the house.
And what was your brother's name?
Qui Jean-François Oterele?
Les gars de Johnny Seyon.
His brother's name is Johnny Seon.
But did the armed men know he was your brother?
Est-ce que les grands-mères te connaissent tes frères?
Oui, je connaissais très bien, parce que je t'ai parlé avec lui, mais la première fois avant de tirer là.
They knew very well that that was his brother because they had spoken with him before during one of the times that they visited him when they were shooting at the house.
And did your brother tell you they had visited?
Est-ce que frère t'a dit que t'es venu chercher?
Oui, frère, mon t'a dit moi ça, mais ça cause que je ne pas traiter dans Kaila.
Yes, his brother did tell him that, which is why he did not stay in the house.
So when did they return again?
Qui l'a retourné la caillou encore?
Je vais retourner la Kaila moi le 30 novembre, dès que au moment des frères, côté Pierre Seyon. C'est par rapport à un cousin qui vient à la suite là, par un rapport de procès verbal derrière.
They returned to his house again the 30th of November 2004. So,
Ils ont retourné la Kaila moi le 30 novembre. D'ailleurs, retourné, ils ont demandé frères dans côté Pierre Seyon pour la travail dans le palais national là.
when they returned on the 30th November, they asked his brother, "Where is your brother that used to work at the National Palace?"
And what did he respond?
Qui ça te répond?
Ils répondent d'après que cousin n'a quitté dans Kaila parce que l'incident lui-même était dans l'autre chambre.
Okay. He responded according to his cousin that was in the house because when they came, he was in another room.
Ils ont dit comme ça, côté Pierre Seyon qui travaille dans le palais national, ils ont dit, il est sorti depuis le matin, il n'est pas rentré.
He said when they requested the whereabouts of Pierre, he said he's left since this morning and he has not since returned.
De là étant, moi j'ai cousin qui est dans l'autre chambre, étant des monsieur a parlé avec une voix assez dure. C'est là, il vient dans des cartouches, seulement il pas balle.
So his cousin was in the other room. He heard the armed men speaking to his brother, his cousin as well, very strongly, very aggressively. And from that point, he heard the shooting and he heard his brother fall to the ground.
And your brother was killed in that exchange?
Est-ce que il a été tué frère dans l'échange ça?
Oui, il a tué lui, mais cousin lui-même il passe par une fenêtre, c'est juste en demain matin, il fait un jour tourner dans Kaila.
Yes, they did kill his brother. His cousin escaped through the window, and it wasn't until the next day that he returned to the house.
And is it your understanding that they killed your brother because they could not find you?
Est-ce que c'est compréhension que vous tuez frère parce que vous pas qu'à joindre nous?
Oui, oui, c'est parce que pas qu'à moi, yo connaît frère nan connaît côté li. Et effectivement, il était connaît côté moi.
Yes, that is correct. Because they couldn't find him, they killed his brother because they felt that his brother knew where he was and was not telling them, and he did know, but he was killed.
Mr. Saillant, are there other cases in Haiti where people who worked for or were associated with the constitutional government were killed?
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres cas en Haïti que les gens qui travaillent pour le gouvernement constitutionnel Haïti qui ont tué,
Were killed by death squads?
que nèg armé que tué?
Oui, gen yo tué, et gen moi connaît qui dans prison.
Yes, there are those that they killed, and there are those that are in jail.
Can you give us the name of somebody who was killed?
Est-ce qu'on peut ba nous nom de gens qui ont tué?
Moi connais Mackenzie yo tué avec un élément bolaka moi sous nom Marassa yo tué en présence.
And what were they?
They killed someone named Mackenzie, and there's also one of his neighbors named
Marassa.
his neighbor is named Marassa, which translates into twin in English.
And what were they in relationship to the constitutional government?
Qui ça a été fait pour le gouvernement constitutionnel haïtien?
Monsieur ça a tué à Mackenzie lui-même c'était employé à PMD, c'est un Simon famille c'est la ville.
Mackenzie was an employee of APN, and he was a former member of the foundation of Timoun Fomi Selavi in Haiti.
And let the record show that the APN is the acronym of the National Port Authority. And Marissa, what was his relationship?
Marassa, qui ça Marassa a fait pour le gouvernement?
Marassa, c'était un monde qui t'a cherché la ville. Il était comme parfois dans le ministère, il a cherché job, il était habité dans son fil. Il était comme fait, il a fait un petit plus courant pour être capable.
Marassa was a gentleman that was basically surviving, trying to live. He would look for jobs, often within the government. He would find ways of providing electricity to various people, but really his mode was survival.
Can you tell me of any other cases of people who were killed by death squads?
Est-ce qu'on peut dire l'autre cas que nèg armé l'autre moun yo tué?
Oui, oui, il a été tué Mario Maniga. Mario Maniga, c'était un monde qui était fait sécurité Premier ministre Yvon Neptune. C'est un policier.
Yes, they also killed
Mario Maniga.
They killed Mario Maniga, who was served as security for the Prime Minister, Yvon Neptune.
And Mr. Saillant, were there any people killed in your neighborhood in addition to your brother?
Est-ce que tu as d'autres moun dans quartier que yo té tué plus que frère là?
Par la suite, après frère nan, m'a abandonné des zones net, m'pa connaît qui ça a passé.
After they killed his brother, he doesn't know because he left the area, so he was not aware of what occurred after his brother was killed.
Were there any massacres in the area of Roupayan?
Est-ce que tu as un massacre dans la zone européenne?
Oui, parce que sans fil, Bastion, ça, c'était une zone, machine pas de passer, mon pas capable de circuler là-dedans. Ça faut payer en bébé.
Okay. He said that Saint-Phil, Carrefour Bel-Air, cars could not circulate.
Was there a case of a massacre near Roupayan?
Est-ce que tu as un cas de massacre pour bord européen?
Oui, tu as gagné 4 jeunes garçons qui ont été tués dans Carrefour Payant, entre Carrefour Payant et Rue Saint-Martin.
Yes, there was a case where they killed 4 young men between Rue Payan and
Rue Saint-Martin.
Rue Saint-Martin, so
And what
Payan
date?
Street and Saint-Martin Street.
And what date was that?
Assistant Press Secretary, I think we have enough testimony from
If it pleases the court, I just wanted to establish that this is a pattern of death squad killings. And in fact, we have an exhibit, Exhibit A, which has the photograph of the young men who were killed at Rue Payan. These are the 4 men who were killed on that date at Rue Payan on October
Oui, oui.
25th.
Moi, connais les autres tués, monsieur Sao.
Okay.
Dans là qui là, si on pomme gasoline, tu as construit là.
He does know these 4 gentlemen. The metal part that you see there, they were planning to build a gas station there.
Yes. Actually, I would ask the witness to stand closer to the front of the box, for the microphone seems to pick him up better there. Okay. So, Your Honors, yes, this was essentially, I wanted to establish the pattern of death squad killing, which is being done individually in Haiti against primarily former employees of the government as well as supporters of the constitutional government. That was the purpose of our line of questioning.
You have more of this?
This is simply the case of people who were killed within a short distance from his home. To point out that his is not an isolated case and not a case of simple grudge. It is clearly a systematic targeting of the population in support of the government.
I think the point is made, and we have 4 hours.
Can we just find out if these 4 men were had a relationship with the constitutional government?
Were those people involved with the government, or would you ask
Juge Jean voulait connaître que moun sa ou te participé dans le gouvernement et Aristide.
Non, moun sa ou lè ou tué ou a, yo te tout près pour la cam. Moun sa ou, quand faut côté yo c'est entre canal Orphelin et Rue Saint-Martin. Yo nan mi-temps. Canal Orphelin comme ça, Rue Saint-Martin comme ça. Moi-même, moi, j'étais plus devant. Yo tué moun sa ou environ de 3 heures du matin.
That's not the question.
Yeah. Okay, we better get the
Vous voulez
translation.
connaître, est-ce que moun sa ou qui ou même qui travaille pour le gouvernement,
Oui, ils ont fait.
est-ce que vous travaillez pour le gouvernement tout?
Non, pas gen moun qui connaît parce que yo vinn tué yo dans zone nan.
Okay, apparently he doesn't know, but I should say for the court, from our
Your
understanding.
Honors, we're missing a translation, I think, for the last answer, if we could have the English version.
Sure. He essentially said no one knows whether they worked for the government.
but they were summarily executed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, prosecutor?
Thank you, Mr.
You
Say.
have other witness?
Yes, Your Honor, and
But before you call your next witness, I will excuse myself for the court for 2 minutes. And
Before we move forward, I just want to remind the jurors and the audience who may be court watchers, who may be looking at the proceedings. If you recall, when I read part of the instruction, I indicated that, and I'm quoting, as with the United Nations International Tribunals, our procedures is a combination of continental and Anglo-American legal traditions. Tonight's session may have some procedures unfamiliar to the American judicial system, most of them borrowed from the continental justice system used in Haiti, France, and other countries. The rules of evidence will be less stringent, leaving it to the fact finders, the jury, to weigh the value of hearsay evidence. Judges will ask questions if necessary to clarify witnesses' statements. The evidence presented this evening will include documentary evidence, including human rights reports and film footage and oral testimony. So this is for the purpose of indicating that the process, the fact-finding process, the presentation of information to the jury will reach as much as possible to get at the truth. in the American legal system, hearsay is not allowed. It is questioned, the objections are raised in the context of the international tribunal, because the inquiries sometimes are not don't find the same kind of controlled environment. Because sometimes you're dealing with a population that is terrorized itself to draw your witnesses from. You are allowed a certain amount of flexibility. So I want the audience and the jury to be open to the context and the framework within which we are operating. Okay? In addition, I just also want to say to the prosecuting team, try as much as you can to try to establish some foundation to what you are asking. When, where, were you there? How did you find out about this information? So we could get a sense of the value of the witness's testimony. Okay, thank you.
You have your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The next witness is Mr. Tom Griffin. And as he's sitting and situated, I'd like to be able to give the court and the jury and the members of the public a brief overview of what we anticipate the evidence will be in the following witnesses. We've heard from Mr. Sion about the widespread and systematic use of death squads in Haiti against the civilian population. The next group of witnesses on behalf of the prosecution will be members of the Commission of Inquiry, who will tell you about their investigation and who will use, as Mr. Griffin has already said, videotape testimony that we were able to obtain in Haiti. Mr. Griffin will talk about those massacres that occurred in the Grand Ravine area with the use of the testimony that we were able to retrieve on videotape. We'll also hear from Captain Larry Rockwood, who will talk about the Belladere and the Cité Soleil area, specifically that in July, while looking for one accused man, the United Nations and the Haitian National Police destroyed an entire neighborhood, attacking civilians in their shacks using armored personnel carriers. You'll also hear from Dave Welsh, who spoke to you about the petitions that we filed before the Organization of American States about incidences that occurred in Nazan and in Bel Air, particularly that peaceful demonstrations were turned into a turkey shoot with deliberately executing, where the HMP deliberately executed peaceful demonstrators, and after the demonstrators had been warned that it would not go well if they continued in their peaceful activities. You'll hear also from John Parker to learn how the Haitian National Police behave when you'll see videotape of machete-wielding police officers and attachés. We'll present that testimony to you, your honors and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, through the use of live witnesses who interviewed witnesses there in Haiti, taking advantage of the videotapes that we were able to obtain. We'd like to proceed with our next witness, Mr. Griffin.
Go ahead. Bailiff?
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin, would you introduce yourself one more time for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
My name is Tom Griffin. I'm an attorney from Philadelphia, and I'm also a human rights investigator.
Were you a member of the Commission of Inquiry that we've been discussing this evening?
Yes.
That investigated allegations in Haiti?
Yes.
And will you tell us briefly how the commission functioned there in Haiti?
The bulk of our work was interviewing various witnesses and victims, family members who had been from various police or UN massacres in different poor neighborhoods. We were able to gather them at an office during our various stays down there and just interviewed them. The entire commission would hear their stories, and we'd move on to the next one. It was basically neighborhood by neighborhood, so we would take an incident and have maybe 6, 7, or 8 witnesses come and tell us their experiences of that incident. While we interviewed them, they were photographed, they were filmed, and they were also audio taped.
Can you talk a little bit to the jury, being an experienced investigator and a former federal law enforcement officer, some of the tactics or the things that you used in order to gauge the credibility of the witnesses and the people that you talked to?
I would say the bulk of it was just their demeanor, the way they spoke to us, the way they looked us in the eye, their emotions as they told the story, and then probably the most corroborating or proof was that witnesses would tell, the story would sound the same across different witnesses.
And were you,
Ms. Prosecutor, are you suggesting, you mentioned that he has some law enforcement background? That was not part of his introduction. Could you just solicit that?
describe for the jury your law enforcement background, Mr. Griffin?
I was a federal parole and probation officer for 10 years in Brooklyn, New York, and in Boston.
Have you been decorated or received honors in your work as a federal law enforcement officer?
Yes.
By whom?
The United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York in Brooklyn gave me a public service award for an investigation involving a large Jamaican drug distribution ring, I think in about 1991. In 1996, in Boston, I received the public service award for the District Court for the District of Massachusetts.
In addition to the work that you've done in Haiti, have you had an opportunity to investigate other human rights abuses in other countries?
Yeah, most recently it was in Mexico, where I was the lead attorney on a team that investigated the death of a human rights lawyer in her office, the murder of a human rights lawyer in her office in Mexico City.
Do you speak Spanish?
Yes.
And also Haitian Creole?
Yes.
Does that help you in your evaluation of the witnesses that the commission spoke to in Haiti?
Absolutely.
Now, based on your evaluation of those witnesses, you're interviewing them there in Haiti, are you able to tell the jury what happened in Grand Ravine?
Yes.
Okay, when was it?
The incident has become known as the soccer match incident, and it happened on Saturday, August 20th of 2005.
Where?
In a field known in front of a school called Saint Bernadette in the Grand Ravine neighborhood of Marquisson on the soccer field.
And did you bring with you some of the videotape testimony of the witnesses that you talked to in Haiti?
Yes.
You've had a chance to look at it?
No, I didn't look at the tape. I was at the interviews.
And the videotapes were taken of the interviews?
Yes.
What, just briefly, did you see or did you learn from those interviews that you can tell the jury before we play for them portions of the videotaped interviews?
Yes, I can sum up the story, and I think I'll just hear different parts of it. But on Saturday, August 20th, 2005, there was a soccer game sponsored by the United States Agency for International Development, otherwise known as USAID, a Play for Peace soccer game. And to attract a lot of people there, they invited the team from a very well-known Haitian soccer player named Johnny De Colline. So about between 3,000 and 5,000 people actually attended the game. There were no stadium seats. It was sort of a typical Haitian soccer field where everyone just gathered around the perimeter of the field standing on the grass. Other people were up on fences, sitting on fences, and standing on top of the roof of the Saint Bernadette school. The first half of the game was incident-free. There were some police officers in uniform at the game. Then there was halftime. As halftime came to a close and the second half was about to start, a group of approximately 20 police officers rushed onto the field wearing black Haitian National Police uniforms, helmets, some wearing masks, and they were led by a plainclothes policeman very well known to the neighbors of Grand Ravine as Inspector Yves Gaspard from the Haitian National Police. He had a sidearm, a white polo shirt, and dark pants. Everyone else had sidearms, which would be a handgun on the waist, and also the police officers had large machine-type weapons, machine gun rifles.
At this time, who was in charge? Who was the chief of the Haitian National Police?
It's Mario Andresal, who became the chief of the police on, I believe, July 29th, 2005, replacing Leon Charles.
And what happened next?
One of the police officers, and it wasn't Gaspard, one of the uniformed police officers wearing a helmet went up to the DJ, the announcing booth, and grabbed the microphone and asked all the players to lay down on the grass. Johnny De Colleen, the star player, and others, but not all, refused to lie down. They then, the police officer then on the microphone looked into the crowd and told the whole crowd to lay down. And again, some lay down and some didn't. At that point, the police officers apparently became very frustrated and began shooting into the air. That started everybody running, and when they began to run, almost simultaneously with the shots going off, a band of about 24 machete-wielding civilians joined in with the police and came onto the field, obviously working together with the police. The police didn't stop them. And then as the fans and the players started to run away, they started to shoot at them into their backs as they ran away.
Who was shooting?
The police.
And what were these civilians doing who were working along with the police?
The police then began, the machete wielders then began to attack whoever they could, and it ends up that most of their victims were people who had already been shot and were laying on the ground, and they would get hacked.
Is it clear to you, based on the interviews that you did and the other investigation, that these machete-wielding attachés were working along with or alongside or at the direction of the Haitian National Police officers there?
Yes, I know that from doing the interviews, and I also know that from interviewing Mario Andresal, the chief of police, who by the time we interviewed him had already been investigating this, and he made some admissions to us that it was police officers working together with attachés or civilian thugs.
And so let's go back to what was going on there at the stadium. After the civilians came on, what happened?
The police officers continued to shoot as people scattered everywhere. And then the gangs with the machetes working side by side with the police continued to shoot and hack people that they could reach before they got away. Some actually, I don't know if the testimony makes it on to this tape, but we have a witness that testified that the machete-wielding thugs actually would chase people very far away, certain people they were targeting, and even pulled a boy off a bus and hacked him to death.
I'm going to ask you, did you talk to a witness, Jean-Pierre? And I will withhold, if it pleases the court, their last name and other identifying information for their own personal safety. Do you talk to a witness, Jean-Pierre?
Yes.
And another whose first name is Zete?
Yes, we interviewed the focus of our interview was on one of the spectators, Jean-Pierre, who was there at the game, and then relatives of people who were killed.
Was witness Venita also a relative of one who
Yes.
was killed? And another witness, Elena?
Yes.
Your Honor, we'd like at this time to play some excerpts from the testimony from those witnesses regarding the soccer stadium massacre.
What did you see?
So they were.
Bon, dans le cadre match qu'on a là, match qui commence jeudi.
The game started correctly with no problems.
On a la match à jouer premier mi-temps fini.
First half finished.
On a deuxième mi-temps va commencer.
Second half start.
On a la même côté deuxième mi-temps va commencer pour équipe policier qui entre.
And when the second half start, and some policemen came.
L'équipe policier a été gain carolé c'est toujours TBO.
Yeah, some of the policemen had their face covered, and you could only see their eyes.
Tu gain un inspecteur qui est le Gaspard. Lui-même il était en civil avec un jean, avec un maillot blanc.
And Inspector Gaspar was there without uniform and his 9mm ready on his hand, in his hand.
And you knew Inspector Gaspar to see.
Vous te connais Inspector Gaspar?
Non, pas de connaître, c'est moi qui vais mais on a organisé comme Gaspar.
I didn't know him, but people who recognize him, I saw him, but I didn't know it was Inspector Gaspar. But after, people told me that it was Inspector Gaspar.
You said when the second half started, the police came. What do you mean? Were they watching the game? Did they burst in? What happened?
Ou dit le deuxième mi-temps commencé, la police.
Il peut commencer, non? Il peut commencer.
Ok, il peut commencer, la police fini. Donc ça yo fait, est-ce que yo te campé à regarder ou bien il entre sur terrain?
Il entre sur terrain, à faire le terrain, public là même à battre, même de connaître sécurité.
The game didn't start yet. It was about to start, and when the police came, they went around, turning it around, and people who were watching the game thought that police came to give them security, and people were clapping, out of joy, that they thought that it was a security team.
How many? So they weren't there in the first half, and they weren't there during halftime. And they just appeared at the beginning of the second half.
Dans le premier mi-temps, yo bat là.
Non, il pas là.
No.
Le deuxième mi-temps pas commencé.
It was when the game practically was going to start, and the people saw them.
How many came?
Combien qu'on s'est arrêté?
Bon monde, ben, on fait.
Maybe 20.
What were they dressed like? What color did they wear? Pants and shirt?
Qui s'est arrêté sur eux?
Bon, les policiers ont été examinés avec tout cargo.
Ils étaient en uniforme?
Oui, ils étaient
Qui uniforme?
Ils étaient en uniforme noir, ils étaient en uniforme kaki.
Some had black uniform and khaki. Tout était têtu.
La majorité, plus fort là-dedans, c'est cargo.
Most of them were masked.
They had helmets?
You were taking casques? Some of them had helmet.
What color helmet?
Qui couleur casque c'était?
Casque noir.
Black.
And did they have guns in their hand?
You were taking exam now?
Oui.
Yes. Qui qualité exam?
Ils étaient revolver, petit revolver sur un tout beau revolver dans gros armes.
And the gros arm took in their hand?
Non, mais petit revolver dans tout.
They had their 9mm there, and they had
Big guns in their hand.
rifle.
And when
He
they
doesn't know the name of the.
and when they came in, what did they do?
Le vini ça yo fait.
Ils sont venus qu'on y a là, ils ont fini d'entrer, puis là même à applaudi. Après ça, on dit tout le monde couché. Ils ont dit joueurs couché avant, joueurs couché, mais Johnny décollé même pas de couché. Il t'a répliqué avec, il dit pas couché, ou il tiré passer, il s'est venu de pays, il pas couché.
When they burst in, they asked all the players to lay down.
The players.
Yeah, and one of them, star in Haiti, his name is Johnny Decolin, said he wouldn't, he wouldn't lay down. They can kill him if they want to, but he want,
How did they ask them? Did they just yell it out?
Et comment yo te dit joueur couché, yo juste relé sur yo, dit tout
Il
le
pas
monde
dit
couché.
tout le monde couché.
Yeah, they just came in and said, out loud, And after the players were on the ground, they asked everybody to hit the ground too. Donc après ça, ils dit tout le monde couché tout.
Bien monde qui couché, bien monde qui pas couché.
Some people, went down. Some say they
Some of the soccer players laid down. Some of the fans laid down. And then what happened?
Ok, il y a un joueur qui est couché, il y a un joueur qui n'est pas couché, il y a un fanatique qui est regardé, il y a un couché, il y a un pas couché. Ça qui passe après.
Il y a un après, il y a là. Il y a un bon manchette qui vient d'entrer, manchette de marqué PNH.
And right after that, a group of men walk in. He called them bandits, and with machetes. And the machetes, it was on the machetes you could read PNH.
How is it written on the machete? How could you see that?
Comment que nous avons fait ouais que manchette écrit PNH?
E yo pa atravel tout moun kap gade.
Well, when they came with the machetes and people could see, you know, it was very clear.
How is it written on like a paint? Or?
Est-ce que son peinture était sous lui ou bien
Yo pa
comment dire,
atravel pasi, yo pa ka identifiye ki sa person.
qui couleur de
Manchet yo,
bon machette noir, mais qui couleur
penti noir. E penti a ekri nan manch nan.
dans manche là, qui couleur de
Noir. E penti blanc.
peinture?
White lettering?
White paint.
So you're on the roof, and some of the people are on the ground.
Ou des sous tête au mur ou bien sous tête au caille? On top of the
School?
wall.
And what happened next?
Ok, ça qui passe à vous.
Apre kounya la, pandan moun de kouchi, kounya la, bon ekip polisi ki te pani yo, ki tire, menm kote a polisi kanda yo tire, menm kote a moun komanse.
Ok, ça c'est après mon fin entrer à manchette ou bien?
Bon, nan nek ki te a manchet yo, gen dit te get antre, gen yon ki le Gérald Golombic, e Frans Lame alias Gérald Golombic. Mi se sauve nan prison pou 1er janvier.
Right after, ok, ça est-ce que c'est après le fait tout le monde corriger, c'est la dame qu'on est le fait tout le monde corriger, qui s'est passé après?
Apre, le ou fin, tout moun fin kouche yo tire.
When after they said to the people to lay down and they start shooting.
Who shot him? All the policemen or some of the policemen?
Est-ce que c'est toute police qui a tiré ou bien quelqu'un ou bien?
Mba ka tou base, le tira yon fet tout moun etet yo ap chache.
I can't tell because when the shooting started, you know, people were running in all directions.
Now, when the shooting started, did you also run?
Le tiré a commencé, est-ce que vous avez couru tout?
Mwen mte an le a kounya la, le tira a bon demare. Mwen pat pli, mwen getan tout dermi yo, nega manchet yo getan seke, plis sakan dan kaprache.
Le tiré a commencé, est-ce que vous avez couru ou bien tiré? Abgade.
Ngade kon mba.
When the shooting started, I went down. Et ou couche à terre, and I went.
Did you see anybody get shot?
Est-ce que ou moun qui était en balle?
Oui. Tout
Yes.
moun, gen moun ki te, menm kote avem sou tet mi, an kon bal ki tombe ba der mi.
Some of the people where I was standing, I think some of them took some bullets and then, you know, dropped down behind the wall.
So did you see anyone get hit with machetes?
Est-ce que tu as mon agio qui blessé à coup de manchette?
Te wè moun tak kon manche.
Ou te
Yap vwe manche sa yo.
Yes, I saw when those guys with machetes were killing people.
We're hitting people with the machete. We're cutting people.
Cutting people.
And then what happened?
Et ça qui passait après ça, avec tout ça.
Apre sa kounya la, gen moun polis ap tire moun, yo menm yap rache moun, gen de moun tou yon polis yo. Men polis ta tire an tou menm yap rache. Moun ki te pou alman, pat fè mouni, epi yo tombe, manche sou.
The police were shooting people, and people really died from the bullets. They were hatched by those men with machetes.
When they didn't die. When they didn't die, they
when they didn't die, and it was that.
Okay, then what happened?
Ok, ça qui passe après ça.
Après ça, bon, tout le monde, mon apprend en bas balle, mon apprend en bas enchette, moi-même. J'étais, mon couru, qu'on a l'aime volant pour nier tête ni, mon couru, une volant descendre tête ni, pour tomber sous la rue. Dem bin tomber sous la rue, aller pour monter dans des cadres, et laisse à moi, il y a pour acheter dans la camionnette, qu'on a couru, tourner mal par son autre côté, c'est laisse m'a prouvé, me donner 6 fois qui est lié, petit madame, ça, dans la camionnette.
I ran and I went through another war. Then I was on the street, and then I was trying to find my way, and I saw you tap tap.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw tap tap, and they were killing a young guy with machetes, and that was her son.
And how was he killed?
Comment il était mort? I don't know exactly. I wasn't there. When I saw him, I bullets, in his chest, and then machetes, mark on his head.
And why do you think they wanted to kill your son?
Because of the security between. I think that maybe they were trying to recruit him to there, and he didn't want to. So that's what I can think of.
Like a gang?
Tapon sort de gang.
What was the name of the gang? Who was the leader?
Est-ce que gang a été bon nom? Est-ce qu'on nom chef de gang?
Un chef là dans la prison, Brown.
The leader, his name is Brown.
Jean George Ives Brown.
Jean Ives George, and his nickname was Brown.
Was he with them on the day of the attack?
El jour attaque là, est-ce qu'il était là? Il était dans la prison. He was in jail
C'est un lot qui vient
the day of the attack.
C'est un lot qui vient pour chef là qui est les Woutiken.
It was another one that was after he was jailed, and certain Rudy Kernizan, R-U-D-Y Kernizan, who took his place as a leader. Rudy était là, and he was there with the machetes guy.
Commandant la machete.
Did he have a machete himself, Rudy?
Est-ce que tu machete too? Yes. And
You saw him?
They had a name. It's Lame Timachet. It's Machete Army.
Did you observe any burning of houses on the Sunday, the 25th?
Dimanche matin, est-ce que tu There is a house in front of my place that I saw burning.
So how did they burn the house?
Qui you roule là? With gasoline.
So they pour gasoline on match.
With cocktail Molotov also.
Did she know someone who was hurt or killed on the
Est-ce qu'on connaît qui était mort le jour samedi vert? Petit garçon? Yeah, I have a son too who died de 20 years. Comment tu es? Est-ce que c'est balle libre?
Oui, il
Est-ce
prend
que c'est
balle.
coupe manchette?
Il prend balle, il coupe un point, il coupe un point.
Many bullets and also the one of his hand.
One of his hands?
Yeah. Off. Est-ce que petite balle là, t'es comme petite balle là? Est-ce que... Yeah, we live in the same place. They all knew each other.
Même côté parce que dans même zone là tout ensemble. Les reconnaître là. Ni au même tout reconnaître mon qui tue là, le premier là, il pas qu'à dire mais tel monde qui tue, c'est yeux qui ouais tel monde qui tue là non connaît, mais au même il connaît parce que les monsieur balle manchette là, il tombe il courir, la jeune police qu'il y a l'autre police même font un sachet balle de balle.
she was explaining that they all knew each other, and what people told her that they cut the hand of his son, of her son, and then he was trying to run away and went to a policeman, and the police shot him, and bag in his head, all kind of things.
To point out gang members that would be in the audience for them to be quietly arrested during the game.
So he admitted to you that, in fact, those were Haitian police officers who were there at the stadium trying to arrest people.
Yes.
And for what crime would he arrest people there watching a soccer match?
He basically, sort of what everybody says that works for the government, bandits, bad guys, people who want Aristide to come back.
They weren't expecting to arrest people in the course of committing a crime while they were watching a soccer match.
No.
And since then, have you learned that Chief Anderson is taking some corrective measures, or what he explains to be corrective measures with respect to those Haitian National Police officers responsible for the crimes?
By the time we interviewed Chief Anderson, he said he had already had 15 officers arrested, including Yves Gaspard, the inspector.
And what role, based on what you heard from the witnesses that you interviewed, did Inspector Gaspard have that day at the soccer stadium?
He was the leader of the group.
Were there UN forces in the area at that time?
According to the witnesses, and I believe according to Mario Anderson, they were around the perimeter, farther away, not really observable to someone watching the game, but in the distance.
Now, were they far enough away, based on what you know about the geography there, to hear the commotion or the gunshots?
I can't say.
Did they, based on any of the information that you have, do anything to prevent or to protect the civilians there at the soccer stadium during the massacre?
They did nothing.
Your Honors, we're finished with the questioning of this witness.
I have a
The
couple
court
of
has
questions that I'd like to ask this witness, if I might, Madam Prosecutor. Did any of the people you interviewed give you any specific information that they had seen Gaspard do any of the shooting?
No.
Did any of them give you any information that they had seen Gaspard try to stop other police officers from shooting?
No.
Did you get any information that Gaspard had tried to stop any of the machete wielders from hurting anybody?
No.
When you interviewed Andrusol, did he tell you that Gaspard had accused any of the others of any wrongdoing?
No.
Did Gaspard ever come out and testify against any of the other people who had been there in any kind of proceeding?
It's too early for that.
So the answer is no so far?
Yep.
So, to the best of your knowledge, you have no information that Gaspard ever did anything either to stop this incident or to participate in any prosecution of it after it happened?
Correct.
Thank you.
Your Honors, our next witness is Captain Larry Rockwood. If this witness may be excused.
Yeah, but the sound of the video was muffled and not very clear. This took us about 25 minutes, the whole first witness. So do we have any idea for the other witness and with audiovisual material how long that will take?
So that's 15 minutes.
Your Honor, the next group of witnesses will be 5 to be introduced, 5 or 6 to be introduced by Captain Rockwood, which would take about the same amount of time. But the questioning from the prosecution will be more limited, so as to progress the proceedings a little bit.
And are those things still interviews with eyewitness?
Right. The first one will be an interview with the eyewitness from Belladere, and the second will be eyewitness interviews from Cité Soleil, a group of 5.
Mm-hmm. That's Mr. Rockwood?
Captain Rockwood is ready.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
So will this relate to the April 5th incident then?
No, Your Honor, an additional incident in Cité Soleil in July.
Thank you.
So I think that after testimony by Captain Rockwood, I think maybe we should take a recess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can proceed.
Captain Rockwood, would you take a moment to introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Yes, my name is Captain Rockwood. I am a professor of American diplomatic history. I'm also a human rights researcher and investigator, not only for this tribunal, but also a number of other government organizations. That's correct, Your Honor.
And that is because you took some independent initiative to investigate, you talked about political prisoners. That was in
That was 1994. I was marshaled in human rights educator for the Department of Defense.
So this was during the transition from the military government that the attack against President Aristide in 1991 to then the return of President Aristide.
That is correct,
You
Your
were
Honor.
investigating the conditions of political prisoners under the Cedras government.
That is correct, Your Honor. I was trying to get accountability of who was being held so they would know that we knew that we would seek an accountability at a later time. By seeking their information on who was being held, I was hoping to keep these individuals from being disappeared.
What kept you from being able to divulge or to investigate that information?
I was given a number of reasons. One of them was that unreasonable stress on what's known as force protection. My unit was basically operating under the program that restoring democracy to Haiti was not worth one American life. So there was an excessive concern with force protection, and even in military journals, Operation Restore Democracy has been criticized for its excessive, exaggerated focus on force protection at the expense of the safety of the civil society of Haiti.
And the work that you were doing, the investigation that you were conducted, was it designed to save any Haitian lives?
Yes, it was designed to save those who are being held in the various Haitian confined facilities by the de facto illegal government of Haiti, to protect them from being disappeared by that government, because my agents were receiving information that political prisoners were being executed and disposed of.
Now that's the de facto government of Haiti under Cedras back in the middle 90s. Let's move on to the work that you're doing with the Commission of Inquiry to investigate the current de facto government's human rights record with its citizens. Can you talk about what you found during the course of your interviews in Haiti with people from Balader?
The situation in Balader, we will see testimony given of an attack on Balader on 23 and 24 June 2002. This was part of a series of counter-stabilization operations conducted against the Aristide government starting in 2001 up to July of this year. There were 8 separate operations conducted over those 4 years. Half of them, according to our numerous sources that we interviewed, were directed at police personnel or justice of the peace. The attack on the 23rd and 24th of June in Balader was by far the most brutal and had the highest number of casualties.
Did you find that there were any efforts made to avoid civilian casualties during the course of these operations?
No, these operations were directly for the purpose of sustaining civilian casualties. These were destabilization terror operations, very much in the mode destabilization operations. The purpose of those operations is to undermine a government's authority by proving to the civil society that that government cannot protect its citizens or its supporters.
So would it be fair to characterize these operations as widespread and systematic in their attacks against civilians?
Very much so.
Did you interview a witness, the first name Cleonard?
Yes.
From him or her, what did you learn about these operations?
Cleonard was the owner of his home was attacked on the 23rd of June 2002 at night.
Was his version of the incident and what happened consistent with the other versions of the incident that you heard surrounding the 23rd and the 24th of June?
Very much so. His testimony was reinforced by two other witnesses which provided the same information to the commission.
Your Honor, we'd like to be able to present that testimony to the jury.
Go ahead.
Madam Prosecutor, before you show the tape, can you explain to us what the relevance of this incident in 2002 is to any of the charges in the indictment and the defendants who are listed in the indictment?
Again, Your Honor, we're trying to show widespread and systematic attacks against civilians by the use of death squads, as we heard from Pierre Seon, and in these particular instances, to show how it has become a pattern and practice of the Haitian National Police to behave in this manner. Our charge in the end will be crimes against humanity, murder, and one of the things that we will have to show this court and this jury is, in fact, that these are widespread and systematic attacks against civilians.
I understand that. What I'm wondering is, given the amount of time that you have left, whether showing this tape is